Hey there, so glad you're here. This is Reddit Stories Podcast. Relax, you're safe here. Here's our first story. Karen hacked the school district so her kid would get homework, then got arrested for it. I teach high school English. Normally, that comes with your run-of-the-mill classroom chaos. Forgotten homework, students who try to convince me their essay was eaten by their dog, or mysteriously deleted by Google Docs. And of course, the occasional email from a parent who thinks their child is an undiscovered literary genius. But this year, I witnessed a level of entitled behavior so wild, so elaborate, that I'm still not entirely sure I wasn't part of some hidden camera show. So, before the school year ended in May, the district held a series of end-of-year meetings to determine what changes we wanted to implement in the fall. Teachers were burned out, students were more anxious than ever, and parents were, well, as demanding as usual. After a few hours of heated back and forths and lukewarm coffee, we all unanimously agreed. The first week of school would be homework-free, just 5 gentle days to ease everyone back into the rhythm of school without the usual academic pressure. It was the only thing we all agreed on. It was beautiful, peaceful, and civilized. Fast forward to the first day of school. I greet my new batch of juniors, pass out the syllabus, and I start my usual first week ritual. Casual discussions, fun icebreaker games, and asking who watched the most ridiculous thing on Netflix over the summer. As I'm wrapping up the day, one of my students, a bright kid named Eli, raises his hand and asks, "Hey, Mr. Reynolds, when's the summer essay due?" I blink. "What's summer essay?" "You know, the one about what we did over the summer break. My mom said the school sent out an email saying it was our first assignment." My internal red flags flapped like sails in a hurricane. Summer essay? We specifically said no homework. Not a single worksheet. Not a single comma out of place. I assure Eli there's no such assignment. He looks confused, and I promise to double check. Later that day, I check my email, and I see an official message from the superintendent. Subject line: First week assignment update, summer reflection essay. The body of the email explains that, due to overwhelming support from parents, every teacher in the district is to assign an essay about the student's summer experiences. Apparently, a parent started a petition over the summer and got massive backing via email. The email even includes a list of staff who endorsed the idea, including yours truly. Now, let me be clear. At no point did I agree to this. I love my job, but I also love not being burned at the stake by exhausted teenagers on day 2. So I dig through my inbox to see if maybe I clicked something by accident. Nothing in sent, nothing in trash, no record of me ever responding to the petition. But my name was listed, along with several other teachers I later spoke to who were all equally confused. So now I'm suspicious. The original email petition came from an address that looked like a rejected AOL Instant Messenger username from 2006, Field Hockey Mom 822008. No name, no teacher signature. Just a plea that all students should be held accountable with a productive writing assignment to kickstart their brains after 3 months of lazy lounging. So I started connecting the dots. It turns out that the tech department had installed a new metadata tracker on all district communications last year after a student used ChatGPT to forge a doctor's note. That's how the superintendent was able to trace the petition back to its digital fingerprints. And guess what? Our mysterious field hockey mom turned out to be a very real person. A mother of one of our juniors who just so happens to play, you guessed it, field hockey. The 822008 in her email address? Her daughter's birthday. Once the tech team matched the device ID and location to a particular IP, it didn't take long to figure out that not only had this mother forged dozens of fake teacher endorsement emails, she had also impersonated district staff. But the twist? She didn't do it alone. Her daughter helped. Apparently, this duo of overachieving chaos gremlins spent part of their summer break crafting an elaborate scheme to make sure the entire school would get a homework assignment on day 1. Why? Because, according to a source who overheard them during questioning, it builds character, and kids these days are just too soft. Yeah, that was the motive. They hacked the school district's email system not to change grades, not to cancel a test, not even to get a day off, but to force 1,200 kids to write an essay about their summer vacation. This morning, the superintendent sent out a follow up email announcing that both the mother and daughter were now in police custody. They're being investigated for cybercrime and identity fraud. A literal police investigation over an essay. The daughter, I imagine, will have a very interesting essay topic next summer. As for me, I'm back to my regular scheduled programming. No summer essays, no fake emails, just me, a whiteboard that hates dry erase markers, and a classroom full of teens who are already making bets on how long it'll take for Jessica in the back row to start her seasonal water bottle flipping campaign. And you know what? I'll take that over field hockey mom any day of the week. So, Karen hacked the entire school system just to give kids extra homework? I can't even get myself to reply to an email without needing a snack break.
Well, maybe if the kids learned discipline, they wouldn't grow up to be the kind of people who make fun of their elders on the internet, Reddit boy.
Discipline? Karen, they were writing summer essays on week 1. That's not discipline. That's academic hazing.
Back in my day, we wrote essays uphill, both ways, in cursive, and we liked it.
And yet, somehow, nobody ended up in police custody, Karen. Maybe try letting the teachers do their jobs next time, without cyber espionage.
Fine, but only if someone makes a documentary called Homework Gate. I want my credit.
Would I be wrong to tell my girlfriend that her friend will not be invited to our house when we host events? I've been living with my girlfriend for 2 years now. We rarely fight. She's kind, thoughtful, and everything I could want. But there's one recurring issue that keeps bubbling up. How she manages her friendships. She's a people pleaser by nature, never wants tension, and ends up walking on eggshells if one of her friends is toxic. I'm the opposite. Quiet, calm, but I don't shy away from confrontation when it's needed. Now, one of her friends, let's call him Mike, has always rubbed me the wrong way. The first time I really noticed it was years ago, before we even moved in together. Mike was doing that awkward, I'm gonna try too hard to be your bro routine, then somehow slipped into weirdly physical jokes with every woman around. One night, he put an arm around my girlfriend's waist while trying to tell a joke, and I snapped. I told him straight up that it was disrespectful. She laughed it off, said he was just being goofy, but I made it clear to her it wasn't okay with me. From then on, I kept him at arm's length. He caught on to that pretty fast. At first, he shifted into full victim mode around her, telling her what he could do to fix it. But when she wasn't around, he had switched back to passive-aggressive digs towards me, bragging about how friendly he was to me in front of her, turning right back around to mock me when she left. One time I was running in a local 10K and he was yelling my name every step of the way. At the end, I heard him scoff to a friend, "Wow, I thought OP sucked at running." So much for encouragement. That pattern continued. He'd play nice while she was around, then badmouth me when she took a bathroom break. Over time, I realized he wasn't just targeting me. He did it to others. Friendly face, venom for those he thought he could manipulate or test. We've made new friends this year. Great people, down to earth, honest. We hosted a house gaming party in our backyard. During one game, Mike lost his temper at a friend, accusing him of cheating. The friend was quiet, a non-confrontational guy. I stepped in, told Mike to back off and to lay off the rough talk, especially in our space. Mike froze, glanced at the group, then played it off like I was the antagonist, smoothing things with a few dramatic apologies, as if he was the peacemaker. After that night, whispers started to float among our friends. They told me Mike seemed creepy, dismissive of others, and two-faced. Someone even said that he went around telling lies about me, how I took advantage of people. So my girlfriend tells me she doesn't want him at our next party. She frames it as concern for me, sure enough. She's seen the same stuff, but I suspect it's more that she finally sees his toxicity for what it is. The timing was telling. Mike had recently asked her to let him into her birthday group chat she was quietly planning with our circle. She had to decide whether to quietly reinstate his invite or not. I could see her wrestling with guilt because she doesn't like conflict or hurting people. I told her letting him back in would just restart everything. Of course, she's second guessing now, leaning toward forgiveness as soon as her heart twinges. I want her to stand her ground because this isn't about me being insecure. It's about wanting to host gatherings that feel safe and real. He's shown he can't be trusted not to make things awkward, especially for other women. He's shown he will cut people down while pretending to be the part of the support squad. I just can't host someone who said things like that, especially when they're false and rooted in spite. So my question is, am I wrong for drawing that line and telling her he's not invited, especially when I suspect she might soften and let him in later anyway? Update. A few people asked if she's going to actually stick with this or circle back. The thing is, she already did. After a quiet dinner last night, she said she feels guilty about excluding Mike. She said he sounds hurt on the message, and she's wondering if maybe she overreacted. I reminded her that she already overreacted not once, but many times to his behavior and gave him too many second chances. She didn't lash out or anything, she just looked lost. She said she values harmony and still does. She worries about being mean. So I asked her gently whether harmony at the expense of safety or respect is harmony at all. I told her I love how much she hates discord, but that doesn't mean she has to revive relationships that damage us. She paused, looked at me, then softly said, "You're right. I've been carrying guilt for too long when I shouldn't. I know what kind of person he is, but letting him go was harder than I imagined." We ended the evening sitting on the steps in silence, watching the neighborhood lights. It felt like a small victory that we can disagree, come back, and still figure it out together. Would it be awful for me to say I feel proud of her for that? Because tonight I really am. Not the jerk. If this guy were any more two-faced, he'd be a coin toss. You're not asking for drama. You're trying to avoid it, and protecting your space and your reputation is completely fair. Honestly, your girlfriend finally seeing the red flags is a good thing, even if it took a while. Just make sure she sticks to her decision, because guys like that thrive on people second-guessing themselves. Your girlfriend sounds like a problem too. The way you write about her, it sounds like she'll throw you under the bus to appease this friend. Did they ever date before you came along? In your place, I think I'd be reconsidering the relationship. Tell her you don't want him invited and pay attention to how she responds, not just in the moment, but days later too. Is she making excuses to him and inviting him behind your back? OP. They never dated beforehand or anything. My girlfriend is loyal to a fault. They were part of a bigger friend group, and they were her first friends when she first came to this city. I think my girlfriend likes feeling needed in a way, so when there are other people who others don't really want to be around or talk crap about, whether they deserve it or not, she starts feeling bad. This one person has always gotten crap from people, for obvious reasons, and even though she understands, she feels bad for him. But what I always tell her is he's doing it to himself by being a crappy person. He isn't the only person she does it to, he's just the most problematic person. One of the girls in the group is someone who, even though she tries to do better, a lot of times isn't necessarily honest with men she dates. My girlfriend will complain about her, but the second I say that her friend is doing crappy things, my girlfriend will say something like, "But she's trying," or "She didn't mean to do that." For example, recently we heard a story where she went on vacation with her boyfriend. Apparently, she made a scene to the waiter, and her boyfriend got upset at her for making a scene and they got in a fight. She was mad at him, and later that night, accidentally locked him out of the room. The girl kept saying that it was an accident, but every person that knows this girl said they feel she did it on purpose and started making excuses to not take accountability. My girlfriend kept beating around the bush like, "Well, I see a case where it was an accident." But it was totally obvious what had happened, and my girlfriend just likes making excuses for people.
It always amazes me the things some people put up with. My partner has a friend who totally disrespects me, but I'm trying to keep the peace by tolerating it.
Right. Any partner who's worth having a relationship with would never allow their friends to disrespect you. And if your relationship is really their priority, this type of thing would never become an issue in the first place. If you disrespect my partner or relationship, you're showing me that you don't deserve a spot in my life.
Some people just cling to their relationship so much that they'll tolerate anything. They think the relationship itself is the source of their happiness, which is totally not true. Love is the source of our happiness. And you'd be surprised how many relationships out there are completely void of it.
Exactly. Love is when the other person treats you with the same compassion and dignity that you treat them with. It's like waking up from a bad dream and realizing that every previous relationship was just a lesson on how relationships are not supposed to be. My friend is always late, so I finally left without her. I have a pretty solid group of friends, and we've known each other for years. One friend in particular, Jessica, has become infamous in our group for always being late. Like, not fashionably late or a few minutes behind, but entire meal missed late. At first, it was almost a running joke. She'd show up 45 minutes after we were seated, still in full glam like she just stepped off a movie set, and we'd all roll our eyes but let it slide. But as time went on and our lives got busier and more structured, it stopped being funny. Now it's just frustrating. Jessica has a laundry list of excuses every single time. She'll say things like, "I got ready super fast today," even if that meant it only took her 3 hours instead of 5. She'll mention doing her hair, makeup, squeezing in a workout, cleaning her house, throwing in a load of laundry, and somehow still trying on 4 different outfits before deciding which one to wear. It's always something. There was a movie night where she made us miss the first 20 minutes. Her response was,
Nobody watches the previews anyway.
and when we pointed out that it was well past the previews, she just shrugged and said,
Nothing really happens in the beginning.
Another time, she actually made us miss a flight for a weekend trip. She tried to blame TSA, the route we chose to the airport, and even the departure time we booked, acting like we should have picked a different flight entirely. That one nearly ruined the whole trip. The worst was Ashley's birthday dinner. We had a 7 p.m. reservation at a pretty upscale restaurant downtown. Of course, Jessica was running late. She begged us to wait for her, insisting she was almost ready and traffic wasn't bad. We finally caved. We didn't sit down until after 8, and by then the restaurant had given away our table. All the other nearby restaurants were booked, so we ended up getting tacos from a food truck in a parking lot. Jessica showed up 20 minutes later, hyped up the tacos like it was a blessing in disguise, and acted like everything turned out fine. That was the final straw for a lot of us. After that disaster, our group had a long conversation. We all agreed no more waiting on Jessica. She could do her thing, but we weren't going to let her throw off our plans anymore. Fast forward to June. A popular comedy show was coming to town and our group was excited. I offered to handle the tickets, and everyone, including Jessica, Venmo'd me their share. A week before the show, Jessica called and asked if she could carpool with me. I instantly felt a wave of anxiety. I told her I was leaving at 3 p.m., even though the show didn't start until 7:30. She sounded confused and asked why I'd leave so early. I told her I wanted to get there first to make sure everyone got their tickets and to enjoy the area a bit before the show. She said she was planning to leave around 7 and just needed a ride because she planned to drink that night. I told her that was cutting it too close for me. Then I was honest with her. I said, "Look, I love you, but I don't trust that you'll be on time. Every time you say you will be, you're not. I don't want to be stressed about getting there late because I waited on you." Jessica was immediately defensive. She told me that this time was different. She didn't have work that day, and she planned to start getting ready at 1 p.m. to be ready by 6:30. I said I appreciated the effort, but I still wasn't comfortable carpooling with her. I told her if she wanted to get an Uber or a ride from someone else, that would be fine. She got really upset and told me I was being unfair, that it wasn't right to make her pay for an Uber when we live so close to the arena. She said she paid for the ticket and had every intention of being on time. I just repeated that I wasn't willing to risk it. I told her flat out that I didn't believe her, and while she may have the best intentions, history had shown me how this usually went. Well, the night of the show came. I left early, parked easily, grabbed some food nearby, met up with the others, and we were all settled in our seats well before the lights dimmed. Jessica? She showed up at 8:15. Show started at 7:30. Apparently, she got another friend to drop her off, someone who wasn't even going to the show, and that friend was just as frustrated because they had been stuck waiting on Jessica too. She came in during the middle of the second comedian's set, trying to whisper apologies and play it cool like it wasn't a big deal. I didn't even react. I just handed her the ticket at the door and let her find her own seat. After the show, she tried to act like nothing happened, joking around like it was just one of those things, but the rest of the group was over it. The energy was awkward, and no one laughed along. Now that I've had some time to reflect, part of me feels a little bad, like maybe I should have given her a chance to prove she could be on time. But honestly, I feel like I've done that a dozen times already. And every single time, it's ended with stress, frustration, and last minute chaos. So, am I wrong for not letting her carpool with me? I know she was embarrassed that night, and I know our friendship has been a bit strained since. But I don't know what else I could have done differently that wouldn't have put everyone else's night at risk again. Not the jerk. At some point, I'm just always late stops being a quirk and starts being plain disrespectful. You gave her every chance, and she proved time and time again that her schedule matters more than everyone else's. Carpooling with her would have been like handing over the keys to your own stress. You were smart to draw the line before she turned a fun night into another episode of Jessica time. That's all for now, but don't be blue. We'll be back soon with more stories for you. Remember to listen to Mr. Redder every night, so your dreams will be wonderful like you are and bright. Now click this playlist, come follow along. We'll be right here. Until then, so long.